Hello, everybody. Thank you all for joining us today. Today, for this internal only webinar exclusive to DI Associates, we welcome our partners at Ideal Products. They are joining us here to give a product training, and they will cover a variety of topics, but primarily they just want to you know, uh, strengthen our their inventory and shipment of rolls, safety jacks, weather jacks, and they want to support DI throughout the country, particularly in the Gulf Coast. Their goal is to help the DI sales team be competitive and offer innovative products. So we thank them for joining us today, and we certainly welcome. We certainly thank them for their time. I'm going to turn it over to James Lowe with Ideal Products, and he will get started and introduce the panel to you.
Thanks, Jared. Thanks, everybody, for your time. I'm actually we had Mike Johnson kind of take the lead on this. So, Mike, do you want to start off with the introductions here? And I'll introduce myself thereafter.
Sure. So, hello, everybody. Thank you for attending this Ideal Products webinar. We're very excited to be expanding our relationship with the DI team and bringing innovation, safer products, and a real strong desire to be working with you guys, with the DI team. We bring many advantages to DI and your customers, including providing a safer standard in the industry and at reasonable cost. And we're very excited to be kicking this off. My name is Mike Johnson. I've been in the industry for over 20 years. I've worked with almost all the installation products that DI deals with, and now have been with Ideal for 2 years. And Ideal Products, as I said, is ready to work with DI to support you guys in the DI team in the Gulf Coast. Larry Rice, General Manager of the U.S., if you'll introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking some time out of your busy day to join us today. My name is Larry Rice. I've been in the industry for 10 years. I was working for Sproul Manufacturing when Ideal Products acquired their metal elbow division in 2010, and I've been with Ideal ever since. I'm also a member of ASTM C16 for mechanical insulation, and I'm on the task forces that developed the standards for metal jacketing, and have been instrumental in supporting the standards for aluminum C1729 and for stainless C1767. Our products do meet those standards, and what we want to do today is give you a little bit more of an understanding on what we do. I am located out of Malvern, Pennsylvania, but you'll have our email addresses, and we're available to you anytime. So feel free to email or call.
Thank you, Larry. James Lowe, if you will introduce yourself.
Sure. Thanks, Mike, and thanks everybody for attending again. My name is James Lowe. I'm going to be sort of facilitating the slides that you'll see in the background. I've been with Ideal Products for 8 years now, and prior to that, 9 years on the distribution side, so a total of 17 years in the industry. I find myself getting involved in anywhere and everywhere I can, not only supporting and speaking with our distributors, but also our core customers, the contractors, and really getting an understanding of how we can help everyone become safer and smarter, faster, increase productivity, ultimately reducing safety risks and increasing profit. I've also participated on the NIA Young Professionals Association Committee and the Thermal Insulation Association of Canada's version, which is called the Innovators Committee. And then on the regional side, the chairman of the Innovators Committee for our provincial association.
Thank you, James. Darian Bertram.
Yeah, I'm Darian Bertram. I work out of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, primarily on the engineering and innovation side, trying to help develop products, machines, solutions for customers, anything that we need to do to be innovative. We have a team behind that, and that's the team that I'm a part of. So I'm excited to be here as well, and Just excited to work with the DI team. And of course, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out to me as well.
Thank you, Darian. Sean Eckert.
G'day everyone, Sean Eckert, Team Ideal. I've been in the industry for almost 20 years now. I spent most of my time in the contracting world, and one of those main disciplines obviously is the mechanical insulation discipline that I'm passionate about, and that's what I started my career with. So I have a unique viewpoint in that I've spent so much time within different organizations through all various roles on the contractor side. So what I bring to the table is a viewpoint and assistance to really understand what our end users are, because us at Ideal, and I'm sure you at Team DI, understand that we need to bring value to our end users, and we share that, and we share the end users. So I can give some perspective and almost some in-house consulting on that. I'm very glad I jumped to the manufacturing fabrication side, although when you talk to my fellow contractors, they may say I jumped to the dark side. But I'm very happy to be here. Look forward to working with everyone. I'm typically based out of a suitcase and roaming all over the countryside. Right now with our restrictions, I'm working out of my home office here in Saskatchewan, Canada. And outside of the industry, I'm also involved in Thermal Insulation Association of Canada. I'm going on my third term as president. So that's the sister association to NIA, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with. So you can tell that mechanical insulation is a passion for me, and it probably goes a little too deep, as my young kids probably know how to estimate a mechanical insulation project, and they've seen videos of weather jacks and cut and roll being made. So it's very close to our world here. So thank you. Look forward to meeting everybody face to face as we get back to a normal lifestyle.
Thank you, Sean. And via audio, we have Rob Bertram, our CEO. Rob, are you there?
Yeah, I am. Thanks, Mike. So I'm Rob Bertram. I'm the CEO of the Ideal Group of Companies, and I just wanted to be part of this webinar. I'm not going to play an active role, but I'm certainly going to be here to observe and to support. I do want to thank everybody for their time. I know this is a big investment for you all, but I do want to touch on a couple of points. I'm sure that James is going to get into more detail, but Ideal Products is a very innovative company that has a very unique I guess, strategy to the marketplace, a very unique offering for its customers. And what I've really come to realize over the time is that DI is very aligned to that. So our values are very, very strong in our business, and they're the foundation and the guiding principles in every decision that we make. And what's interesting is DI has very similar values as to what we have. We always do well when we work with companies that have a similar value set. And so what I'm really looking forward to is really driving the innovation and helping DI and Ideal together really answer the needs of our core customer, which is a mechanical insulation contractor. Their top needs are safer products and products that have a higher or faster productivity level. And certainly we can do that moving forward. So I'm excited about teaming up with DI and having an Ideal DI kind of offering to the marketplace that's unique and moving forward, where we're going to have an awful lot of interest in the marketplace. So thank you all for your time, and I'm going to pass it on over to Mike, and we'll get started.
Thank you, Rob. We'd like to shift to Sean for a safety moment. We like to have a safety moment before each meeting.
Thanks, Mike. So quick moment here to do a safety moment. And I know being in the end user world, so much safety is talked about and practiced a lot. So we also believe in that in everything that we do at Team Ideal. So if you bear with me for a couple minutes to share some sunscreen facts as our weather warms up and we're hopefully getting outside to enjoy the sun rays, let's be cognizant of this. So what's the most common cancer in the world? Surprisingly, it's skin cancer, and it affects everyone. Using sunscreen can reduce your chances of burning, but it's not going to allow you to spend unlimited time outdoors without risk of skin damage. Here's an interesting fact. 90% of construction workers use sunscreen at home or while on vacation, but only 58% feel the need for it at work. Same sun, same environment. So that's an interesting fact. It's widely recommended that people use sunscreen with an SPF of 15 to 30. However, I'm just going to explain the difference there. SPF 15 blocks 93% of the UVB rays. SPF 30 blocks 97% of the UVB rays. And SPF 50 blocks 98%. So the difference between a 30 and a 50 is about 1%. And I think we've all been in this situation before. If you put SPF 50 on, you think you're basically wearing a lotion shirt, and that's definitely not the case. So not all sunscreens protect you from UVA and UVB rays, so you got to pay attention to the labels. If you're planning to be near an ocean, keep in mind that you need reef safe products, and sunscreen must be applied 20 minutes to 30 minutes prior to exposure and needs to be reapplied 60 to 90 minutes depending on your activity level, and especially if you're around water sports or heavy sweating. So I think we all know how to apply it, but one of the most common areas that we forget to apply it to is our lips. So let's take these simple steps to reduce the most common cancer in the world. We can easily prevent this. Thank you.
I think I have my first takeaway.
Thank you, Sean. So now we'll just shift to James Lowe to start our presentation to discuss the what we call the ideal edge. James?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, thanks, Mike. And before we get into it, we touched a little bit on why we're here today. I think Rob made a bit of an introduction on talking about how we've come to this webinar today, and finding that we do have a lot of alignment. And I think if you look at the screen, we've got, you know, on each side our sort of vision and our missions in each of those. And if you read between the lines, you can really see that there are definitely some alignments, particularly when we're striving to impact safety, forward thinking, innovation, a safer and more efficient, energy efficient world, including our values. And if you kind of put our values side by side, really they're quite the same. And I believe that, and I think you would all agree that in any relationship, when you're, whether it's your wife or your children or your best friend, when you share those same values and you're on the same page, it just makes things a whole lot easier. So I believe that this is going to be start of something great, like Mike said, and it's through these values that will support us and guide us through this. As mentioned, the theme of or what we're talking about today is really the ideal edge, and really what the ideal edge is, your competitive edge, your competitive advantages, and how we can work together to take those competitive advantages to the market. If it's just a small edge or a small advantage, that's all it takes. I mean, as we all could agree, in this world today, we're in a lot more competitive world than we've ever been before, especially with this pandemic and COVID. We're now having to do a lot more with less, hence one reason why we're doing this webinar today. So 3 key points that we'll be talking about, and you'll hear a lot of when we move forward, is safer, smarter, faster. Safety, obviously, safety for everyone, safer employees, safer employers, and that's how we can provide products and services that impact those areas. Products and services that impact the smarter aspect. We're talking about technology, we're talking about innovation, we're talking about making smarter choices, working smarter, not harder. I read a quote the other day of somebody who was a business founder and a business coach, and one of the things that he said was, an important part of running a successful business is knowing what you should do yourself and what you can do reasonably subcontract to others. So those are some of the things that are making the smarter choices. On the faster side, we're talking about productivity. We're talking about increasing productivity. We're talking about what drives productivity. And I think if you would ask anybody what makes a successful or profitable company, what it all boils down to is how productive you are. And so those are some of the things that we're going to touch on as we move forward. Just to give a bit of background though for who we are, you kind of heard earlier a bit about us, but a bit about the company. If some of you may or may not be familiar with us, here is just sort of a little bit of a timeline from, you know, inception in 1991 all the way up to 2017 when we launched our Houston division. But as you can see, in between, we may have only be coming up to almost 30 years, but I believe we've come a long ways in 30 years. And a lot of that attributes to focusing on innovation and technology. One of the key things that support that is, Darian, for example, he's on our engineering team. We employ a full team of in-house engineers who design and build not only the machines, but the softwares that run them. And things like plant automation system to facilitate successful and efficient and productive orders to get out to the door to you guys when you need it, or you folks when you need it. We play a lot of, we participate, in many areas. We're part of all the regionals and national associations. You can see very active in each part. Again, with the NIA side, the National Insulation Association, and then the Canadian version, which is TIAC, or the Thermal Insulation Association of Canada, which Sean Eckert, again, is the current president of, and is on his 3-year term, I believe you said, Sean?
That's correct.
And then up to over to the ASTM International, which Larry Rice has been a part of for many years and sits on the board for the insulation standards.
James, if I may interject, that we're not just members of these associations, but we are active participants. We attend all the conferences, we sponsor the conferences, we advertise in the publications. We are all in when it comes to our industry.
Correct. Yeah. Yep. Thanks, Larry. This just shows a little bit about what I mentioned earlier as far as what supports everything. And as you can see, Darian actually has one behind him. It's sort of a poster that we kind of keep in the front set of all of our employees and colleagues. It's really our we call it our crest, our statement crest. And basically it talks about protecting through innovation and courage. And as you can see on each side, on the left side, we're talking about the innovation side of things, bringing ideas to reality with creative approaches and leading edge products and services. What that means is, and if you flip to the right, and this talks to the courage side, is that when you're taking new products to the industry, when you're developing new things and things like change, as per se, when you hear change, and a lot of people are afraid of change. So we really have to encourage each other that, hey, if we believe this is the right thing to do, it takes a bit of courage to bring that to the market. And I believe that's another reason why we're here today, and another reason why we've partnered up with DI is because we're working in this together to bring innovation with courage to the market. And as you can see, our 5 core values at the bottom, again, will support all that. Shifting gears a bit. Yes.
James, I'd like to pause right here and just offer out, I know we've got a lot of participants listening on the line here, but there is a platform to ask some questions and type them out that we will get to at the end of this presentation. And if you think of something after this presentation or when you're rewatching it, you'll also have all our contact information to get a hold of us on. So we want to interact with you and help you with any of the information that you have questions about.
Yeah, Sean, this is Jared. Thank you for pointing that out. I did forget to mention that if you have any questions, this is to all the attendees, you can submit them. There should be a questions tab on your GoToWebinar panel. You can submit your question through there, and then what we'll do is we'll go through those and read them off and address them at the end. So thanks, Sean, for pointing that out.
Thanks, guys. Sorry, I'm just reloading here. I love technology sometimes. And these days, it's more times than sometimes.
You're at the go button.
There we go. So when we're talking about Go, we're going to be getting into just some of the key products and services that we are focusing on today. I know there's several that we can talk about. We can go all day long, but I think we've identified key products and services that we can go ahead with right away as far as things that will help you and everyone else. And we're talking about rolls, we're talking about elbows, we're talking about cut and roll, and some of the accessories that go along with it. And some of the key features and benefits that are really different and separates, gives that competitive edge to some of the other products that are out there. Basic run through aluminum and stainless steel jacketing is what we are rolling out with. First of all, standard aluminum roll jacketing we can get with offer with painted or polyfilm moisture barrier. We can offer other special coatings upon request. And then on the stainless steel side, your general stainless steel roll jacketing available in your T304 and T316 alloys. Different finishes as well, smooth, stucco, and cross crimp, I think seem to be the most common. So those right away are an immediate offering that we have. Other finishes, again, are available upon request. Different colors, we have a wider range of color offerings that we can support and supply in various areas. Some of them available more than others, so those can be addressed as needed. And if you do have a requirement, just reach out to Mike or Norma, which will give you the contact information at the end. When we talk about moisture barriers, again, aluminum offered it in just a bare form with no moisture barrier, a painted type moisture barrier, which is a acrylic or a polyester, modified polyester coating, a polyfilm, or otherwise formerly known as polycerlin, has been the most general term. That's been removed since DuPont mentioned something about, you know, using their name upon that. So in the industry, I believe you'll find there'll be a shift to using more of a polyfilm term. And then polycraft, the old polycraft paper, those are typically seen in older specifications. Stainless steel, bare, or with polyfilm. Common gauges, I guess, that are available. On the top, you'll see with stainless steel, 010, 016, and 020 seem to be the most common. We can get thicker gauges, but again, those are a little bit more of a special request, and depending on when you need it and how much, we can get you and service you that on a order to need basis. The aluminum typical gauges, 016 all the way through 050, typically you will see 016, 020, and 024 used. Other gauges are used, but perhaps more in equipment form or special custom fabrication pieces. However, very much available at your disposal. Just to switch gears a bit, I know we're talking about rolls, but we wanted to mention something about safety jacks, and I know some of you may or may not have heard of the newest standard in cut and roll jacketing. And really, this is something that offers, this is something that is going to be the competitive edge that can really help increase the contractor's productivity while also reducing safety risks at the same time, and all at no extra cost. Right now, we have introduced safety jacks as our standard, and behind that is because the technology behind it. We've developed 5 machines now across North America. Everybody else correct me if I'm wrong. We've got them all over in different facilities, and basically at the third of the speed, it does 3 times the capacity of a traditional cut and roll machine. And the only limitations to that is right now is how fast somebody can put the pieces in the boxes. It's extremely fast, so it cuts it, curls it, factory deburrs the sides, and puts a leading edge hem on it, which creates a nice rigid edge on the leading edge. And basically, if you look at the next picture, you can see on the right hand side where that edge comes into play. Benefits of that. First of all, it's called the leading edge. So that is the edge that the installers will handle the most. And actually, Larry, I don't know if anybody else has a piece to show, but I've got one here, unless somebody else has one. But you can see in the picture, and you can see in this sample piece, when you're installing a piece of cut and roll jacketing, you're likely going to put you will first start off with putting your first band here, then your next band, and your next band, and your next band, depending on specifications, whether it's on 6-inch centers or 12-inch centers. Likely after you put on your first band and you go to put on your second band, it will cause what the effect of, and a lot of times will cause a fish melting effect, or they call it the fish mouth or fish lips. And basically what that does is it provides a gap. It opens up the edge so that there's potential for water ingress, obviously, and then a lot of rework happens there. So we'll talk about that a little bit more on how that benefits really the installer. And then, like I mentioned, the protection side of things, it really alleviates any points for moisture ingress because of the rigid edge.
I think here's a good time to talk about the undertones of every one of our products and our talks is safety and profitability being delivered down to our end user, our core user, which is the mechanical installation contractor. So this innovation of the safety hem and the new standard and the elimination of the fish mouthing, and we'll get into other products. The undertone that I hope each one on this line on this webinar today takes away is that Ideal helps Team DI drive safety and profit to the bottom line for our end users.
Yeah, Sean, maybe I can just kind of tag in for a second here. So Sean, as you're aware, because you come from the contracting world, really for our customers, which are in essence all of your customers, which is the mechanical installation contractor, everything we do is designed to help them in their day-to-day business. And I think we can all agree that on a job for a mechanical installation contractor, really the one thing that can impact whether they make profit on the job or not is productivity. That is the one thing that is unknown. It's also the one thing that kind of separates good contractors from bad contractors. It also separates good tradesmen from bad tradesmen. So productivity is the key element that drives profitability on a job. And as James will get into deeper, every product that we offer, the features are that it is more productive or quicker and safer to install than what's available on the marketplace, and that's the highlighting of that. Now, on the safety side, as Sean said, safety is very important to everybody. You're not even in business unless you actually have a good safety record. But the truth is, for a mechanical installation contractor, they cannot even get a job if they have a poor safety record, because the large plant sites and the large customers that award all the projects and all the EPCs and all the owners that award projects, the first thing they're looking for is a clear and clean safety record. If there's not a clear and clean safety record, the bottom line is their bid won't even be considered. They won't even be invited to bid in most cases. So it's very, very important to understand this. And Sean, I think you'll agree with me on that. But as we move forward, you'll see how everything we do is designed to really help our customers, which are your customers, to be a safer employer and a more profitable company.
Yeah, thanks, guys. So this next slide speaks a little bit more to that. And you'll see on the right side, using safety jacks and cut and roll jacking in this job. So this is a case study, sort of testimonial from the Brock Group, that's something you may be familiar with. This is a project that they completed up in Canada. It was the Northwest Redwater project. And in this case here, approximately 120,000 linear meters of cladding, jacketing, straight jacketing was installed. 800,000 man hours was used to install that. A rate was given, an average wage at that time was maybe 30-50 an hour. It could be quite actually a conservative number. And at that point they said, you know what, just to throw out some numbers immediately, using safety jacks actually increased their productivity by 3 to 5%, if not more, because they were not reworking the fish mouthing. And so that, because when they laid their bands, they just could go. And so if you total that up, I mean, total labor costs, you can see, were astronomical. They exceeded $20 million, $24.4 million to be exact. If you take a look at 3 to 5% impact of savings on that, you're looking at $732,000 of savings at 3% and $1.22 million at 5%. Just by switching over a product that costed no more to them. And if you think about this too, when I know you've got customers asking you, if you can perhaps, give them a better price, 3 to 5% on material is far less than 3 to 5% savings on productivity. And then I think on the left, you'll see safety. It's unparomounted. But what really speaks out in statistics is that over 1 million hand injuries occur per year in the US alone. Similar to Canada, we have less people in Canada, obviously, but 20% of those are disabling injuries, and 63% of those are from lacerations, so hand cuts. And it's interesting to see and to highlight because, you have people who say, yeah, we wear gloves, we wear PPE. Sure, that may be the case, but somewhere along the line, somebody is cutting their hands. Those numbers are coming from somewhere. And if we can help reduce that in any way, a safety incident, I don't know what the exact cost is. Sean, can you speak to what a cost of a safety incident is?
Yeah, so just for some background knowledge, it was about a decade ago where I did some case studies as hand injuries in the field were occurring. And as a sidebar, it's phenomenal the amount of resources and time spent talking about gloves on a work site. I'm sure that's something that your clients have spoke to you about as well. But the findings on a safety incident was roughly $3,000 to maybe $6,000 conservatively on just the most minor laceration, and that's not including for your safety stand downs or any shutdowns due to injuries or even a serious hand laceration. So we at Ideal believe building safety into all of our products is definitely an impactful and a key innovation that we provide on all our products. And one of the other things that I want to pay attention to as we go through some of our innovative products, such as Safety Jackson, when we get to Weather Jackson and the others, it also takes a lesser skill set to install many of these products. So that's an ambiguous productivity increase to measure if you're talking to some of your clients. But if you ponder the time that it would take a skilled tradesman to make, say, an end cap or make this safety ham in the field on some sort of manual break, you're wasting a high skill set time doing a job or a task that an off-the-shelf product could solve very quickly and easily. The other component of that is increased material handling and wasted time walking and logistics on a site. So these are deliverables that you can speak to your end user about, not just the safety aspects of the innovation, but also your direct productivity savings and then your ambiguous productivity savings. When you hear a premier contractor talk about their innovations, and a lot of them are on board, it's all about producing numbers like we see on this case study from Brock Group, but having your safety record and your productivity records get you the next job, get you the next project, get you the bigger project. That's what the premier contractors want to do. And that's what we're here to help DI and Ideal partner up and get this rolling forward.
And James, one thing to add to that, Sean, is I think one of the biggest impacts on probably most jobs is schedule compression. I think almost all jobs have had schedule compression, and the products that we are bringing, this Ideal Edge, help the contractors get those products on and faster. And that is a huge help to the contractor, and we're going to them through the DI team.
Maybe
Yeah,
just
Mike,
a quick comment on the pricing as well, too, Mike or James.
Sorry?
Or the safety ham on a safety jack, that we believe in it. The price of the safety jack ham compared to the traditional.
Yeah, so traditionally a safety ham product would cost, it's a 3-step process is if you do it traditionally. So you're taking a sheet, you're cutting it, you're running it through the safety ham process, whether it's rolled or hemmed, and then you're putting it and feeding it back through the machine to roll it. with automated cut and roll technology, it cuts it, curls it, labels it, throws a hem on it, all in one factor. So you're looking at least 15, and I've seen 30% increase in pricing to the market traditionally. However, I mean, we could have taken that and said, hey, we build up our margins exponentially. But if we said, if we really believe in what we do and providing safety and productivity and profit to our users and our customers, you know what, let's make this our standard. This is our standard, and we're offering it basically at no extra cost over roll pricing. So really, why would anybody want to buy a roll and cut and roll themselves?
Perfect.
Okay, so another item that we are ready to rock and roll and offer down in Houston. Mike, Fab Straps, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, so I'm excited that we have brought in a large stock of Fab Straps. We now have it in Pasadena. I'm very excited about that. If there's one thing that's kind of been missing with doing the Safety Jacket is providing Fab Straps. So we have that, and we also have the capacity to make Fab Straps as well as needed. So we stock the standard Fab Strap sizes and wing seals, and so ready to support DI's needs in that area.
Thanks, Mike. All right, in the next section, we're going to dive into a little bit more of technical aspect on our weather jacks. And our weather jacks really speak to our pressed elbows, all of our press fittings, so elbows, end caps, tees, and whatnot. We did have some pre-conversations with some of your team members who have mentioned that, it's a little bit unclear that how they install, because they are a bit different. So we're going to get into that just a little bit more. Basically, our weather jacks is, like I said again, is our line of fittings. They're all manufactured in the same state-of-the-art process in Melbourne, Pennsylvania, potentially in Houston shortly, as we roll in for machinery. Or correct me if I'm wrong there, Mike, if not already, but all form to C585 and C450 standards. And we're going to go through the key features of each as we roll through. Biggest thing is, we talk about ASTM. The elbows that we do offer are made pretty close to, or if not specifically to, ASTM standards. So they fit exact, they're fit to a precise fit. And I think that's the biggest difference is with the pressed elbows that we offer. They're traditionally, before there was ASTM standards, installation elbows were fabricated with a little bit more tolerance. So the pressed elbows needed to be a little more forgiving. When ASTM standards were introduced, now they're cut more precisely. We're cutting our installation fittings to more of exact dimensions. So what that means is you don't need that extra metal. And so our elbows are designed to basically pull out of the box and put on. They're easier to put on. They have the factory diverged edges, which are safer to handle. And then the unique part about it, and this is where our weather jacks, weather jacks come from, is the weather jack system. And Larry, do you want to talk a bit about more what that system is?
Sure. Because our elbows are designed to just fit right out of the box, they don't require any beading or crimping in the field. We are able to put a custom patented profile on there to prevent water ingress. So what that profile is, and I'll see if I can show you this right now. Right there, you can see right in here, so you'll have what we call an inner and an outer. So the inner will have this little bead right here, and the outer will go over top. Create a seal in this area here, and create a seal this area here. So it's very difficult for water to come in and actually get all the way through. So that's what the patented weather jack system really promotes. There's enough play in here that if you have, it's a little bigger or smaller, there is adjustment in here, but it also gives you a nice even fit all the way across, as you can see in James's picture right there. It's designed to fit your typical ASTM installation.
one of the biggest and common issues in the past when you have pressed elbows that have more material or a little more tolerant is that you'll get a bigger heel in the back. So you'll have a gap on the heel, which obviously could potentially let in moisture. And as a lot of us know, when we talk about corrosion on insulation, water being the enemy, that is not good. So the system is designed to really prevent moisture penetration from entering the insulation system.
James, maybe
The system is also, I'm sorry, this system's also available on our large bore line, our millimeter line that is for the thin insulation, like Aerogel products, and there are some newer ones that are out today. So we're able to do the exact same thing throughout our whole aluminum elbow line.
Right. I think the other thing to point out too, pressed elbows are available through us all the way up to what, 30 by 6.5, Larry?
Well, up to a 30 by 6.5 on the large bore. Typically it's 20, 24, and 30 inch. If it's one of the weird sizes, we can usually accommodate with one of those. And they're above the numbered size elbows, we do offer them as quads or 8-piece fittings. They are very easy to install. And there's actually a video on our YouTube channel with two office workers and had them install I believe it was a 24 by 4, and it took them about 10 minutes to actually install it properly.
Yeah, so really the advantage of that is we are, I believe we're currently the only ones that offer pressed elbows up to 30 by 6.5. And the biggest advantage of that is versus doing traditional gores, we're really reducing the installation time of the installation contractor, plus less handling of the metal. So we're talking again about impacting productivity and reducing safety risks. Plus also offering that same weather jack system to provide an absolute protective system to reduce CUI.
I think we can just have a little pause here for a second and mention that there you can see there's a lot of innovation and there's a lot of information and passion behind our products and our information. So we welcome breaking off after this session and scheduling some micro sessions to go deeper into these details for micro teams. So that's an option as well.
Thanks, Sean. So as mentioned before, the same process, the same system is throughout our other fittings, such as tees, end caps, and bevels.
So James, I think it's important to note here real quickly that the tees, the end caps, and the bevels, although it's very rare a contractor will ask for them because a lot of them don't know that they're available. But the truth is every job uses an awful lot of tees, an awful lot of bevels, and an awful lot of end caps. In most cases, more bevels and end caps are used on a project than even elbows themselves. The difference is traditionally contractors would build them in the field and their costs are really unknown. The press products that we offer are something that contractors, as they understand that they're readily available, it helps with schedule compression, but it also helps them to really know their costs up front. And again, this is where it helps us to increase the size of the order. So if you've got a customer and you're asking them, you know, if they have are interested in the end caps or the bevels, it's going to help them with safety, but it's also going to help them with productivity. At the end of the day, it helps us because it could increase the size of the order potentially by 20 to 30%.
Right, thanks, Rob.
Ordering these products will make your end users a differentiator on the job and make them more profitable. And that's where I come back to my story about the premier contractors looking at innovation in products and using them on sites for productivity increases. That's exactly these products.
Thanks, Sean. One of the other production lines we have now set up and rolling in Houston is our corrugated sheets, able to produce your two common profiles, 1 1/4 by 1/4, 2 1/2 by 1/2, and it's done in the extruded form, so there's no limitations to length, which speaks to productivity If you've got a vessel or a piece of equipment that exceeds, some presses that are limited to 12 or 14 feet, you no longer have to install 2 pieces, you can install 1 piece. So again, installing quicker and less handling of sheets, profit and safety, productivity, safety impact. Mike, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, we're just, the machine is set up and calibrated, and we're making a lot of product off that machine, so we're ready to support.
Okay. So the other part is because we have such a dynamic team and focusing on innovation often, as I mentioned earlier, we have a full team of in-house engineers who not only design and build the machines, but the softwares, and also really can help with supporting any sort of custom fabrication type items. Really, because of what we talked about earlier, the reduced skilled tradesmen in the field and schedule compression and everything, really providing pieces that are prefabricated to the end users are going to impact, again, productivity and safety. We know DI does a lot of custom fabrication as well, so we're just saying that we can really support DI and the entire group with anything that we can, perhaps on the metal side, vessel heads, vessel bodies, you name it, tank heads, Pittsburgh end caps, all of that we're able to support DI with as well. The other thing we just wanted to throw out, and not to spend too much time on, but is thermal jacks. Thermal jacks is our newest production line, and we launched and built up in Canada. Basically, it is a new style. It's a V-groove style installation, but done in a different process. So it's fully automated. It's a fully automated system. It produces pipe insulation in accordance to pipe insulation standards, ASTM C547. Hence the name, Thermal Jacks 547. It's extremely versatile in a sense where, yeah, we can do a lot with this. And Sean, do you want to talk a bit about some of the initiatives that we've been working on?
Well, I'm cognizant of the time that we're at here, so I welcome any sidebar conversations from the attendees. Again, my contact information will be there. But this is going to be a game changer in the mechanical insulation market. You can see the agility to laminate different layers on the interior or the exterior, and it's going to cut down labor costs to install. It's going to decrease the chance of corrosion under insulation. This is a game changer, so I welcome any conversations, and I know that we will support. And I know on the contractor side, again, this is going to make them a differentiator, and in turn solve some of our problems in the market and in the industry.
Quick note too, I think we also have quite a few videos about this stuff on our YouTube channel and just on our website content. Can see the machines, the way they run, the way they work, the innovation that we put behind them. There's a ton of work and a ton of years that go into each of these machines. So we like to showcase that as well. So if anybody is interested in seeing those things, check out the website, check out the YouTube channel, or reach out to any of us so we can try to point you in the right direction as well.
All right, Mike, I think we're coming close to the closing here. And did you want to?
Yeah, just to wrap up on the innovation summary, the investment that Ideal Products has put into this company on the automatic cut and roll, the ACR, on the automated V-groove machine, which is something that I've never been able to run until I joined this company. It's a great piece of equipment and design. And everything we're doing with our other products with the weather jacks, that's the innovation that this company is investing into, and will continue to. So I think it's a support to DI on safer products for their customers, but also innovative products that allows the contractors to work faster. We have locations throughout North America to support Distribution International. The one that everybody on this call, this webinar is focused on is Pasadena. We are ready for a phased rollout with Distribution International. We've brought in a large stock of rolls and have them here now. We can also make the rolls here. on demand. And we also have a large stock of weather jacks, which we've improved with production improvements in Malvern, Pennsylvania. So we're going to be stocking a large amount here in Pasadena. And then we'll be providing training. Sean Eckert will be coming down to work with me directly as we travel to see contractors, EPCs, end users, all your customers, our customers, but to work with you guys and train in every bit of what you just seen throughout this Ideal Edge presentation. So in ordering material, you guys know what to do in ordering material. All of our codes have been entered into your system. This is just a summary of what we're looking for. We do provide reference material like you just saw, the trifold card that will give all our numbered systems for weather jacks, safety jacks, T's, bevels, and end caps. So we have all the reference documents. If anybody needs anything, be sure to contact myself or Norma. The Ideal team locally will be myself and Norma Chapa. Your direct contact for ordering will be Norma. I can answer a lot of the questions on quotes and orders and presentations with everybody that you're seeing here, including Rob Bertram, to help as we move forward with I think is going to be a great partnership. I personally am very excited about this. I've worked with DI for many, many years, and it's a great company. So I think I speak for everybody when I say we are very excited about this.
And before we flip to questions, this is just a quick slide if you want to continue to stay connected. And as Darian mentioned earlier, our various social media channels, including YouTube, has some videos on there that you feel free to explore, stay connected. That said, if anybody else has anything to share, I'm not sure how much time we have left, but questions? Jared,
Send it back to Jared.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Very informative. We do have several questions that have come through. So, and they've come through throughout the presentation. So bear with me if it's something that you might have answered later. And then I think Robert Helvenka would like to address the group a little later, right after questions. So we'll get started. First question: who is the main person responsible for quotes, for project quotes?
So the initial contact would be Norma Chapa and a copy to me, and she and I both work on project quotes and day-to-day pricing as you need them. Larry Rice helps us also, and his group will help us also with project quotes. But the initial emails go to Norma Chapa and to me, Mike Johnson.
Great, thanks. Next question: if we have historical usage on particular colored aluminum, would Ideal be willing to inventory coils of those sizes for DI?
Yes. We may already have those things in stock. We do stock in the U.S. gray 016 and 020, and it's the Exxon gray and white. And in Canada, we stock a lot of the colors that you saw earlier in one of the slides. So if there are other colors, all we would need to know is the usage, and we would be happy to.
Great. What color is your poly barrier?
We're blue.
Okay, easy enough. Does your 1 1/4 corrugated sheet match JM or RPR?
You'll find on the profiles between all three companies, they're slightly different.
Our profile is designed to match more of the JM than the RPR. So if you actually were to replace a JM job with our material, it will fit. With an RPR, it's a little bit of a struggle, but the 2.5 by half does fit identically to JM. So the 1 1/4.
Oh, sorry, Rob.
Yeah, well, the 1 1/4 is extremely close, but the 2.5 is pretty much identical. The reason why we're not perfectly exact is we use a different process that allows us to make sheets any length that you want right in Pasadena. So we can make 24-foot long sheets, 34-foot long sheets, 6-foot long sheets, whatever it may be, whereas JM has a length limitation, as they use a different process than we do.
Okay.
If it's important and you want to test it out, we can always send you maybe a 2-foot sample so you can see how it would lay across.
I think a good question is to ask whether it's a new job or a repair job. And again, it shouldn't be an issue, but again, with every manufacturer is going to be slightly different. It's just because of different technologies of the machine, but they're all within ASTM standards and tolerances. They're just different machines and technologies, which are slightly different.
Okay. We understand your Houston facility now has a laminator and you are commissioning it. When will it be fully in production?
We are working on that now. It may be, we may be a month away. That's an estimate. But we are installing it now as we speak.
Okay. Next question, where are the fab straps manufactured? Do they have chamfered leading edge? Is seal locked into, there's kind of 3 questions in one here. Do they have chamfered leading edge? Is seal locked into place where it will not slide off the band?
I'll answer that one. So we actually have capability to manufacture the wing seals in more than one location. So typically, I'm not sure exactly where Mike is pulling them from. We do have production lines in Malvern as well as in Edmonton. Yes, it does lock the seal in place so it doesn't pull off. If you bend the lock out of the way, you can pull the seal off, but it's a folded fasten, not a spot weld. The other thing I'd like to discuss is we don't round the edges, but they are cut with, so they are what we still call a safety edge. Now we do also offer a product called Quick Straps, which does have round edges that are a self-locking strap. They are much different than what's been used in the industry, and they're extremely fast. We also have a tool that automatically cuts the banding to a desired tension as well. That's something that you guys can all ask for information on in the future. There's nobody that's really introduced these to the market other than us at this point in time, and so it's something just to look forward to.
Okay, next question, is box rib available? If not now, will it be in the future?
Box rib is available, and we can do pretty much any thickness. What we would need to know is, what your current usage is and where it's used, and we can make sure we have sufficient stock.
We produce the box rib in Edmonton, Alberta, so we have to make sure that we have the stock available.
Okay. And then there's kind of 3 questions in one on this one too. Is the V-Groove machine the old Rockwell unit? The second part of the question is, whose insulation do you use? And then I don't know what you mean by MWFG. Adam, if you could clarify that, that'd be great. If I need to unmute you, I will. But y'all can address the first parts of those.
I'll start the answer on that. So the RV Groove machine, our thermal jack line, is not the old Rockwell machines. It is very different than the old Rockwell machines or even the IIG machines. It's a fully automated production line that has the ability to produce V-Groove, to layer V-Groove, to add cladding to V-Groove, to do a complete system. And it also has zero waste. So whereas the old Rockwell and the IIG or JM products use a minimum of 17% waste because they cut the V's out, we've got a patented technology that has zero waste. So it's quite a bit different. Having said that, the reason I wanted to answer this question is Ideal Products has bought all of the downstream assets from Rockwell Manufacturing. So we have all of their 3 V-Groove production lines, their lamella lines, and anything associated with that, the presses and everything else. Those currently are being assessed as to where we're going to commission them and run them, but they are the old technology, obviously, so it's not super desirable for us, but it is of interest.
And MWFG might be asking the question if we're laminating with fiberglass or mineral wool. And then there was the question about the insulation supply.
Yeah, so our insulation supply, we have flexibility in that. Our two main suppliers that we've been using for the 40 or 50 or 60 million board feet that we've consumed over the last year or two is Owens Corning and Paroc out of Europe.
Great. Thanks, guys. Well, that was the last question. So I am going to unmute Mr. Rob Alvanka, the Senior Vice President of Strategic Sourcing, and he'd like to address you guys and the group of attendees as well. Robert, you should be unmuted. Go ahead.
Yeah, great. I had one other question, I guess a couple other questions for them. One is, on your weather jacks, are they taped together right and left, or are we gonna have to dig through a box and try to find a right and left?
No, they'll have a piece of blue tape taping one set together. So when you get a box, you'll 25 or 50 sets, whatever the box quantity is. So you just pull, we call it a blue. So you just pull one set that's taped together.
Perfect. Also, we can probably get you information. We do sell more of the colored products in the Midwest, Rockies, and South. They're the Bureau of Land Management, BLM colors. So they may be a little bit different than some of the ones you have, and we can get you the usages and just see what we're going to do. Just from my perspective, I know we've been working on this for a number of months, and I know Corey Hahn has worked with Ideal in Canada for a number of years, knows Rob very well, and I know that our Northeast facilities in New York have been working with Ideal. So one thing to note with Ideal also, and I don't know if you mentioned this, Mike, but where some of our competitors out there, with three lettered names also sell contractors direct. That's not the strategy of Ideal. Ideal wants to partner with DI, and they are not going to bid contractors direct. I would suggest as well as when you, not only on the goods that we've negotiated to make sure that your pricing is competitive in the market, as on your day-to-day stuff, but Ideal is very interested, and they've been very competitive when it comes to project quotes. So anything that you're used to going out for pricing on, whether it is a rolled goods or come to Ideal. If you need sourcing involved with that, we'd be more than happy to work with them. We want to make sure that it's a win-win for both companies. But if Ideal also knows that if we don't win it, they don't win it. So it's an opportunity for us to win together. So I'm looking forward to the relationship. I know that from David Fisher's group, Todd Negatis's group, including Denise Trimble, that Ideal has been very, they have responded very quickly to what we needed in getting us quotes back, as well as being very competitive on the recent project. So if you guys need some help, William Brannon is the strategic sourcing manager who handles this category, but I'll be involved as well. I think everybody on this call, from the Ideal side as well as the DI side, want to make this work between the two of us, and we want to grow the business together. So the more that we can do that together, I think, as the slides say, let's grow our revenue together and our profitability. Okay? That's all I had. I thought the presentation was very well done. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Robert.
All right, guys. If y'all don't have anything else to add, I think that does it for this webinar. Again, thank you guys for your time. We really appreciate it, and thank you for the partnership and the education.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jared, for putting this together. And we look forward to working with the entire DI team.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good afternoon.
You too.
As well.
As well.